Welcome back to ESPN First Take, presented by DirecTV.
Welcome back to the program. If you haven't watched much college football in the last couple of years, this next sentence will come as a surprise. Tonight, it's South Florida and Rutgers, and it's certainly the biggest football game in college this week. It may be one of the biggest games of the year. Undefeated South Florida, ranked number 2 in the BCS, but they're playing a pretty good Rutgers team that rode this ride last year. If they knock them off tonight, it would have a huge impact on at least half of the BCS title game. Rutgers in South Florida is also our student showdown this week. Here to have some fun, talk a little trash, we have Brendan Colella. He writes for the Oracle at USF, and Nick Martino writes for the Daily Targum at Rutgers. Brendan and Nick, we say welcome and good afternoon, good morning, rather, to you. Brendan, be honest, did anyone on the USF campus predict what's going on right now for USF this season?
Well, if they did, they made a lot of money because I don't think really anyone saw this coming. I think a lot of people expected USF to have a good year, but to have all the upsets work in favor of the Bulls, I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
Nick, last year, Rutgers got to ride this ride, and it all culminated on national TV on a Thursday night when you guys beat Louisville at home, and the overhead shot tells the story. It's like ants running to a piece of candy on the kitchen floor. Are you guys ready to storm the field tonight?
Yeah, well, it seems pretty similar, doesn't it? I guess everyone's pretty ready. They're waiting for it, and you know it would be pretty fitting. But this time we're hoping that we don't jump the gun and go before the final second kicks off the clock.
Well, you were new to that. You know, the whole storming the field thing. It takes time. Now, were you among the students rushing the field, or were you in the press box? Where were you when all that was going on?
I actually was. I wasn't writing for the paper at that point, so I wasn't covering the football team. So I was in the south end zone in the new bleachers that they had just put up. So it was a pretty good time.
All right, Brendan, what do you say to the people, and they are out there, who think that a one-loss team should play in the BCS title game ahead of, if it happens, an undefeated USF team in the BCS title?
Well, you can kind of see what happened with Boise State last year. A lot of people didn't want them in the game, and can you name a better game than the Boise State-Oklahoma Bowl game? So, I mean, you got to let the teams play, and if you're undefeated, I think you should have a shot at the title.
Yeah, that is a good point. Boise State certainly gave us a thriller against Oklahoma. Nick, South Florida featured in Sports Illustrated this week. So I want to know, what are they saying on the campus of Rutgers? Is this the most overrated team in all of sports right now?
I don't know if anyone thinks that they're the most overrated team. I'm actually going to probably offend you a little bit, Jay, and say that a lot of people think that those Buckeyes, since they haven't actually, played anyone yet, at least USF has beaten a couple of teams, Auburn and West Virginia.
See, we bring you guys together. We hope you talk trash to one another. You're not allowed to talk trash to the host. And another thing, I never thought I'd ever in my life hear anyone say that number 1 Ohio State is more overrated than number 2 South Florida. But I digress. Let's move on. Brendan, we know that Tony Soprano is a huge fan of Rutgers and Coach Ciano. Any added intimidation there, knowing that Tony Soprano's on their side?
Maybe a little bit, but I heard Rutgers is wearing their black jerseys tonight, and that might be kind of fitting because if USF plays the game they're capable of, Rutgers' season might be fading to black tonight. So.
I might not be so worried about Tony Soprano on the sidelines if I were Matt Grothe. I'd be a little bit more scared of Joe LaFedge if you saw that hit on Andrew Robinson last weekend.
Brendan, David Wright is expected to be there. Do you care at all that David Wright will be at tonight's game?
Not really. As long as he doesn't have that Mets jinx going USF. So
yeah. Give the Bulls a little bit of that choking mojo.
Wow, the choking mojo. You have to respond to that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's a good start. We'll just see.
And Nick, I understand that you have one big problem with South Florida. What is it?
Oh, well, I was looking at the map the other day, and Tampa is not really very far south. I would probably call it, middle Florida or something like that. They should probably get their geography majors together and try to think of a new name for the university,
Brendan, please respond.
It's kind of hard to disagree with that.
Facts is facts.
Brendan, here's a quick answer for you. When I worked in Tampa, people used to ask me all the time, why is it called South Florida? And I just always used to answer because Middle Western Florida wouldn't fit on the jerseys.
Right,
So,
it's too long of a name. They couldn't get it on business cards, anything like that. So.
All right, Brendan and Nick, you guys were both great sports. Enjoy that game tonight. It's going to be a terrific football game, and may the better team win.
Thanks.
All right, thanks so much.
Jay.
You bet.